I never thought I would see a moment where I find myself trying to categorize how bad or how good a loss was. At the end of the day, a loss is a loss. And we lost 1-0 to Arsenal, but we played better. There was a structure. Ten Hag definitely set up tactically correct, and that is why the game wasn't as open as a lot of people expected. For 90% of our games this season, we certainly have kept that gaping hole in midfield there for everyone to exploit. And that has been our biggest problem this season. Forget about injuries, forget about Ten Hag's decisions. That gaping hole in midfield has been our biggest issue. But against Arsenal, it wasn't there. And Ten Hag did something differently by bringing in an Amrabat in midfield. And why did he not play earlier on in the season? Ten Hag brought him in on a free on the last day of the transfer window, and we probably expected him to play consistently for us. He came in as left back, played a couple of games. It wasn't that great. He went into midfield, wasn't that great. And then when Casemiro and Mainu got fit again, he was nowhere to be seen for months. And now, when we are again injury stricken and we are down to our bare bones, he comes in and has a good performance in midfield, which is something Ten Hag should definitely be looking at for the next couple of games and the FA Cup final, because we weren't that open. We were defensively sound. And that is testament to the work rate that Amrabat put in alongside Kobe Mainu. McTominay, played as a 10, higher up the pitch, a second striker, whatever you want to call it for him. And again, it didn't help. He was nowhere to be seen. He made passes, but there wasn't any threat from him going forward. We weren't crossing the ball into the box enough for him to make a late run, try and head of the ball. Hoyland was, bereft of service yet again. And you have Garnacho on the one side who kept beating Ben White, but making the wrong decision by going for goal himself, not looking to pass, not trying to find his strikers or his other forward players or even midfielders. So we were quite disjointed from the back all the way to the front. The goal that Arsenal scored, I mean, what is Casemiro doing? Why is he taking so long to get out of the defense and get back into the defensive line? He played Havertz miles onside. Johnny Evans, showing his age, not getting square, unable to get back in time, and Havertz goes past him with ease. Wan-Bissaka, again, not seeing Trossard, run in behind him to get first to the ball. Casemiro in no man's land, and boom, Arsenal score. But that has been Arsenal all season. Clinical when they attack and absolutely defensively sound. We certainly struggled to get through to them and to get to their goalkeeper. And when we did, we lacked in our finishing. We lacked in our final product. Now, a lot of people were going at Garnacho for failing to make passes, for failing to find his strikers, but we can't be too hard on him. He's only 19. He made his debut last season. I mean, there's so much more to come from him. He's going to be a very, very good footballer for Manchester United, but he needs time to grow. And this season, his growth has been a bit stagnant because he's been asked to be a dependable player at such a young age. He's asked to win games for Manchester United, massive games for Manchester United, and that's not what you expect of a 19-year-old. You don't put that much pressure on him. He doesn't even have anyone to look to learn from, on the wings, etc. So he's learning to do things himself, but his mentality will grow. He will become, the player that we see potential in. So not too much pressure and, shall I say, negative talk to be put on him, because he literally runs himself dead on the field for us whenever he does play. Ahmad on the other side should start ahead of Anthony. There's no question, no debate about that. He is much, much better than Anthony. His mentality, his decision making, his first touch, his ball playing, the passes that he makes, the way he's unpredictable when going at his fullback. He certainly is much better than Anthony, has a higher ceiling than Anthony, and should start ahead of Anthony for Newcastle, Brighton, and I think in that FA Cup final as well. Ten Hag said he trained well and was doing quite well in training on a quality level. So he deserved to start and had a very good performance. I don't want to see Ten Hag take him out of the starting 11. Leave him in the team. He played quite well, and he will and can become a very important part for Manchester United. If we get in a Michael Olise, or Pedro Neto, who's also linked to us, then him and Ahmad can be two good wingers that can rotate between each other, that can compete for the right wing position. I'm not talking about Mason Greenwood. I don't know what the situation is with him. When the summer comes, when it's transfer window again and he's back training for the preseason, we'll see exactly what decision the club makes on that, and we'll speak about it when that does arise. But I want to get back to Amrabat and the way he performed in midfield for us. Early on in the game, he made a very good tackle on Trossard, stopping an Arsenal counter-attack. There was a moment when Bukayo Saka tried to go around as well, and he absolutely bodied him. There was moments where Amrabat cleaned up, and was in the right position to intercept the pass or to even break down an attack that Arsenal was busy building up. Amrabat should be part of our midfield going forward for the rest of the season because he's got more legs than Casemiro. He is more minded to stay in midfield and protect his defensive centre backs, being Evans and Casemiro and whoever it might be, for the next couple of games. Maybe Martinez returns, but I don't think he must play against Newcastle. Maguire, Varane, they're probably all looking to be fit for that FA Cup final. And when that game does come, Amrabat needs to be in midfield alongside Mainu. And Bruno, of course, in the 10 as our captain. That needs to be the midfield for Manchester City because Mainu has got the legs, Amrabat has got the legs and the physicality, so he should be starting in midfield. Against Arsenal, we played some good football. There were a bit of moments where our rhythm didn't seem quite well, we had a bit of misplaced passes, but you could see that we were actually playing with a plan in mind. We were composed when we had the ball. We weren't woofing it forward and hoping for something to happen. That only happened by two players. Onana, especially for the goal because his clearance wasn't accurate and Arsenal capitalized on that. And Casemiro, who every time when he got the ball looked to play some long ball in behind to Højlund or to Garnacho or to Deleuze making a run in behind or even trying to play it up to Højlund so that he can hold up the ball. That's not really what Ten Hag wants to do. But Casemiro does that because he doesn't want to make a bad pass close by him. He doesn't want to make a mistake that could cause, them counter-attacking us, and he doesn't have the pace to get back. We've seen it. So a much better performance, but still a loss. 14 losses now in the Premier League, the most in a Premier League season for Manchester United ever in the Premier League. And that's due to injuries. That's due to Ten Hag making certain wrong decisions. That's due to us having a lack of a backroom that could have provided us a much better foot to stand on to go and perform. You can blame the Glazers if you want to as well. It's a culmination of everything. And our season has been over for quite a while now. So let's just get through Newcastle at home, our final home game of the season. Let's have a good performance. Try and get a win. Same thing goes for Brighton on our last day of the season. And then we prepare for the FA Cup final, which is our biggest game. And we should be fully prepared, fully focused for that. But right now, we are struggling. And it's because of having a lack of quality players, but also players that don't want to play. There's so many things going on in Manchester United. The season, football-wise, has been absolutely horrendous. But knowing that our backroom is changing, that we are getting a footballing structure that is wanting to take Manchester United to the top, to compete consistently again for major honours, that shows that there is a bit of positivity in the season. Ten Hag is speaking like a man that's going to be here next season. He speaks like someone that's going to be part of the planning for the preseason and the next season to come. We'll have to wait and see on that. But that's just the feeling that I get. But let's move on to Newcastle and hope that we actually have another good performance and just end the season at Old Trafford with a win in front of our home fans, in front of our stadium that is absolutely destroyed. The way it was leaking, the videos that are out there on social media just shows exactly how bad the Glazers have run Manchester United into the absolute ground. But subscribe to the channel, drop a like. I thank you for your support and thank you for those who watched the video thus far. We move on, we move forward. Glory, glory, Man United. Till we see each other again soon. Bye-bye, Red Devils. Thanks for watching. If you want more content on Manchester United, like, share and subscribe.